Hello and welcome to Lincoln Electric's Welding Technology and Training Center. I'm Haley Hagan. I'm the Associate Product Manager of Advanced Technology Equipment here at Lincoln Electric. And standing with me here today is Charlie LaRich, who is one of our senior welding instructors at the Weld School, Dan Klingman, who is our Manager of Educational Programming, and Sheldon Ray, who is my fellow Product Manager of Advanced Technology Equipment. So today we're excited to put on a PowerWave 300C educational demo. And what that will consist of is highlighting the features and advantages that the PowerWave 300C can bring to educational facilities. So before we get into that, I want to give a brief overview of what the PowerWave platform consists of. The PowerWave platform is Lincoln Electric's most advanced equipment product line, and it's capable of software updates via powerwavesoftware.com, so you're always able to ensure that your PowerWaves, including the PowerWave 300C, are up to date with the latest software and technologies available. So now let's dive into the PowerWave 300C. The 300C is offered in two models, the standard and the advanced. Both models are a 300 amp, 100% duty cycle, all process, compact, all-in-one machine. So what I mean by all process is that you're able to switch from your stick to your TIG modes, to your MIG modes, and your flux cord modes, all by the press of a button. So what I mean by compact all-in-one is that the wire feeder system is included inside the power source. So the 300C comes with our MaxTrack 2-roll drive roll system, which allows operators, students, instructors to easily change out their drive rolls and wire without using any extra tools. On the back of the machine, all 300Cs come with an integrated cart and tilting bottle rack, which eases the use of loading and unloading of gas bottles. Each 300C also has process-dedicated gas solenoids, one for MIG and one for TIG. And with that, that concludes the PowerWave 300C overview. I'm now going to pass it back over to Dan and Charlie to talk about their experience with the 300C and the educational market.
Hello, we're back. I'm Dan, this is Charlie. Haley did a great job introducing the PowerWave 300C. Charlie and I are going to talk a little bit about it and how it incorporates into your educational program and how those align with some of the key benefits and features of the 300C. So, Charlie, Haley had mentioned that the PowerWave family is Lincoln's most advanced technology that we have, but that doesn't mean that it has to be the most complicated to operate from an instructor's standpoint. If you can, just explain a little bit about the ease of navigation and setting up the equipment from an instructor's standpoint.
Yeah, Dan, the great thing about these machines is the simplicity of just going from process to process. So we are on flux core right now, gas shielded, with the push of a button. Now I'm on SMAW welding. I can adjust my amperage here, and if I need to change rods, I got a screen here that lets me change what rod I want to run, and brings me right back to that screen. It doesn't get any better than that.
Thank you, Charlie. Now, if an instructor was going to use the 300C, the GMAW, what would that look like from a setup standpoint? Good
question, Dan. It doesn't get any simpler than this. All you need to do is push the GMAW button, and you automatically hop to that screen, and you are ready to run GMAW. You could go through here and click, push the button in, and to select what type of wire you have on your plan on running.
Okay.
Then you just push hit here, wire diameter size. We'll push that in, pick what wire diameter size you're going to run, and we can set that up.
So basically all you're doing is answering the questions according to your procedure that you have to run.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Next one to be gas type. We have many choices of gas, whatever's available in your area or what your WPS would call for, and just continue through and set it up. And you can pick what mode of transfer you want to run to. We have all the advanced modes in here, so it's very, very simple to select everything. Just tell the machine what you want to do, and it's ready to go.
Okay, thank you, Charlie. So those are great benefits from an educational standpoint. Now we're going to move on to the one point that Haley had talked about, and that was the fact that we now have a multi-process machine. So Charlie, there's been a lot of multi-process machines out there. When you talk about the PowerWave 300C and the advanced model, and we talk about the multi-process capabilities, what sets this particular one apart than other ones that we may have had in the past, especially from your standpoint with teaching from an educational facility?
What separates it apart is that I now have one machine instead of having to have two machines to get into GTAW AC, which allows me to do aluminum welding. When I had an older Power Wave, I'd have two machines in there, they were DC. This one here has AC, it's great. We push the TIG module here, GTAW, and we can see I have high frequency AC, which that allows me to get into aluminum welding with that.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go here and select our AC settings.
Okay. So Charlie, I noticed when you hit that AC settings button, I see a lot of advanced features that I would see on a dedicated a TIG machine with all the AC capabilities. So you telling me all of those key features of an AC type power source are built into the 300C Advanced?
Exactly, Dan. That's the great thing about this. I have all of the capabilities of a dedicated TIG machine in this machine right here.
Great.
So I have a wave shape, I have my frequency, I have an AC balance. The one thing I like about some of these features is I have a visual here. So say you have a student that maybe didn't understand what you were talking about in the classroom on this. He turns this here now, he could visually see as he goes more negative, he sees this getting wider down here. And as he goes to the positive, he sees what's happening to that square wave shape that you talked about in class.
That's great. So it's actually reinforcing the lessons that you did in the class right here on the power source.
Yes, exactly.
Excellent.
DC offset.
Okay.
And it also has a gas purge to purge before you start welding. You can set that up.
Okay.
And you come back here, adjust whatever amperage you like, and you're ready to go.
So the one thing I'm seeing that's kind of been into play as we pick these different processes is whether it's SMAW, GMAW, or GTAW, as an instructor, you're basically just setting it up and answering those questions per your welding procedure.
Exactly. It doesn't get any simpler than that. Very simple. The simplicity of this is amazing.
So thanks, Charlie. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the machines that we have. Haley had mentioned that there's a standard 300C and there's an advanced 300C. I also understand that there's also a 300C advanced educational pack. So Charlie, expand a little bit on what the educational pack is and how that differs from some of the other machines that we have.
So the educational pack comes with everything ready to go out of the box. So you have your GMAW gun, you have your TIG torch, you have your hoses for your gas, you have a stinger, electrode holder, even comes with your foot pedal for GTAW welding. Okay. So everything is here when you're ready to go. So it comes up to your school, it's ready to go out of the box.
And I can see a big benefit of that, right? If you're a school and you're teaching all the processes, rather than have to know all the different part numbers, you order the one 300C Advanced Educational Pack, you get all the parts, and now you're able to, I know with our certification program, the LEAPS program, been a very popular machine because of being an actual a true all-in-one. The students can be in their booth and be able to switch back and forth to all the different processes without leaving that one booth, and just adds a little bit of simplicity when they're trying to go through and complete all those certifications.
Very simple, Dan. Everything's there, ready to go. No looking up part numbers. The LEAPS program is great for them. Like you said, everything's here ready to go.
Great. Now I'm going to turn it over to Sheldon, and he's going to talk about some of the advanced technologies of the 300C and how those incorporated into Industry 4.0.
Hi, my name's Sheldon Ray. I'm product manager for advanced technology products here at Lincoln Electric. And right now I'm going to talk about the PowerWave 300C and some of the advanced features it has as far as traceability and Industry 4.0 technology. So in the education environment, you can't always be exactly where your students are. You may have 30 plus students and there's only one or maybe two instructors in that area. So how do you ensure that your students are getting the most out of their lab time? We can actually use a tool that we designed for the production environment. So a lot of fab shops, they want to know exactly how much productivity they're getting so they can figure out how to maximize that productivity. So what we've created is Lincoln Checkpoint Production Monitoring, and that is included free with every PowerWave we sell, including the PowerWave 300C. So for instance, what you see on the screen behind me, this is a recording from a particular week in our weld school. so I can see exactly how much arc time was there versus the planned amount of arc time, so I can put a schedule in there. I can look at deposition rates as well, and I can also look at my gas consumption, so I know exactly how much gas my facility is using. Now, looking at this from a production point of view is one thing, but what about for schools? Well, right here we actually have a thing for shifts. So this allows you to designate certain shifts. Well, in a production environment, you may have first, second, and third, but in a weld school, you might just have weld school hours. So this is actually a real chart from our weld school, and I'm actually changing it to our weld school hours here, which is from 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. So now I have it isolated down to that. Now let's say I want to know more. I want to know not just the overview of my entire school, but I also want to know what's happening in each booth. So I can go to the report stage here, and I can go all the way down to weld listing. So what this screen will show me is a recording of every single weld that was done in each booth. So for booth C2, I can see when that weld was started, what that arc time is, the total of metal deposited, the average current, and the average voltage. So what does that mean? Well, as an instructor, if you start seeing a lot of starts and stops and not a lot of actual solid weld time, so you can see here these are very short welds, maybe that student's struggling. Maybe that student needs a little more attention. So you can identify ways to help your students in that way. Now, if I want to get even more granular, I can actually trace which student is at each machine. So if I go to personnel, I can actually look at people that were in the lab at that point in time. So you see student here, student has 828 welds. Charlie Cross, which this can be a name of a student, name of an instructor, has 7 welds. Well, if you start seeing anomalies between one booth and another, again, maybe that student may need a little bit of extra help. Now, there is way more that this system is capable of. That is just a brief overview. If you want more information on Lincoln Checkpoint, please go to lincolnelectric.com. So now that I've talked to you about Lincoln Checkpoint and what that has to offer, Dan and Charlie are actually going to come back and they're going to do some welding demos for you.
Okay, I'm back here. I'm Dan. This is Charlie. And now we're going to show you some of the actual setup from the front of the machine and how you would incorporate that and set it up as an instructor for your students. So the scenario we're in right now is Charlie just wrapped up his SMAW welding, and I'm going to set it up for a modified short arc. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to select the GMAW process button. I'm going to hit that. And again, like earlier we discussed, I'm just going to answer these questions. I'm going to select wire type, steel. I'm going to select my wire diameter, which is 035, and there's multiple choices here that you can use. My gas type is a 75-25 argon CO2 mix. I'm going to select that. And the final one here is our actual process. And we are actually going to select our modified short arc that Lincoln has, and that's our STT, or surface tension transfer. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And it comes back to the home screen, and it gives us a quick summary of all the choices that we made without having to go back in and see what all those were. Okay? Now I'm going to save that to a memory simply by pressing in this memory 1 button and holding it till it says saved GMAW. And now we're ready to weld. So Charlie's going to go ahead and make a fillet weld in a vertical down lap joint. Whenever you're ready, Charlie.
All right.
Okay, Charlie, sounded good.
Sounded real good.
So we showed how we went from SMAW, we went ahead, set it up for GMAW and our modified short arc. Now, one of the things we want to show is our advanced GTAW features of this machine. So I'm going to go ahead and we're now going to switch and set it up for GTAW, and we're going to be doing some aluminum. So with that, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off my cable here. On the advanced machine, this is where your TIG torch is going to go, and that's also where your stick lead would go. So we've got the TIG torch plugged in. We've got our work lead set up. Now, in this case, I have already went in and set up the features just like I did for you in GMAW. What I want to show you now is that since we've done that already, Charlie can now go ahead and tap his foot pedal, and it will take us right to our GTA setup. So by either pulling the trigger, by hitting the foot pedal, it will take you to each one of those setups that you have already set up. So it's a quick changeover. Just a quick glance here. So it's showing GTAW, we're using high frequency, and we're on AC. Our balance control is 75-25, and our frequency is at 120 Hertz. So Charlie's going to get set up here, and he's going to go ahead and make a fillet weld on the lap joint here on some aluminum, and then we'll follow back up at the end when he's finished. Okay, Charlie, how'd it go?
Came out pretty good.
Okay.
Very simple to get this changed over.
Great. So now that Charlie went ahead and made his weld with the GTAW, I can go ahead and save that GTAW setting into memory 1 for GTAW. Each process has its own set of memories. So, and as we showed before, you can pull the trigger, tap the pedal, and switch back and forth between the processes. So with that, we're about wrapped up here. We're going to go ahead and get the welds cleaned up, and we'll be back for a wrap up. Okay, we're back. Charlie went ahead and cleaned the welds up. We'll now go ahead and show you those.
So here's the first weld I did with modified short circuit GMAW, vertical down, our STT. And here is our second one I did with our high frequency AC GTAW. And we showed you how simple it was to change from GMAW to GTAW, which is a push of the button and putting a cord in. That was it. Back to you, Dan.
Okay, Charlie. So we're going to bring Haley back in, and we are going to do a wrap up.
So you guys learned about the overview of the PowerWave 300C. You saw some live welding that the PowerWave 300C is capable of. And so now we're going to address some of the frequently asked questions.
The first question that we get asked quite a bit is, will the PowerWave 300C take a water cooler? And the answer to that is yes. You would need the 115 kit for the machine, the water cooler accessory kit, and also the CoolArc 40. Now, if your gases are plumbed in and you do not need a bottle on the back of the standard cart, you could actually utilize that spot for the CoolArc 40 to stand in. If you are utilizing the cart for the bottle, then we prefer you get the dual cylinder cart, and the cooler would sit next to the bottle.
The second frequently asked question we get is, how do I update my machine? So earlier I mentioned a lot of the machines, or all PowerWaves, can be updated through powerwavesoftware.com, and the 300C is no different. So what you would do is you would go to powerwavesoftware.com, download the software bundle to your computer, upload it to a USB drive, and then use PowerWave Manager to help update your machine.
Another question we get is, what packages does this come in? We have a standard machine, we have an advanced machine, and we have the educational advanced machine here. The educational one comes with your GTAW torch, your GMAW torch, which you could use for your flux core as well, your electrode holder, the foot pedal for doing GTAW, hoses for gas, and a regulator for your gas as well. So it's all in one shot, ready to rock out of the box.
Another question we get is, how do I get connected to Checkpoint? So what you would need is you would need to connect your power source to your Ethernet or your network in your facility. Go to checkpoint.lincolnelectric.com, create an account, and you should be ready to go.
And the last question we get is there some type of a protective screen cover for the user interface? And the answer is yes, we do offer one. However, the screen and the controls have gone through extensive testing and have showed to be very durable in a lot of different scenarios.
Okay, so that wraps up our PowerWave 300C educational demonstration. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And for more questions about PowerWaves or PowerWave 300C, visit lincolnelectric.com.